Hello and welcome to Question and Answer Thursdays. This is Melissa Daphnis from Your RV Dream, and today we have a few interesting questions to go over that maybe will help you to achieve your RV dream. So we're going to be covering these questions. I'll go ahead and go over the questions real quick so you know what's coming up. Where would you look for desirable, affordable RV parks that are geared towards full-time residents and half-time residents? Number two, where would one look for RV work and live opportunities like property upkeep for seasonal vacation homeowners doing light maintenance, security, Airbnb, clean and prep, for example? I would like to live in beautiful places for months or perhaps a year at a time. Are there RV parks that offer ownership options? For me, what was the biggest mistake you made in relation to full-time RV living? And if there was one pamper type item, no matter what the cost, that you could have, what would that be? So let's go ahead and get into it with the first question, which is, where would you look for desirable, affordable RV parks that are geared towards full-time residents or half-time residents? And honestly, this question kind of goes to the same as looking for any RV park, whether you just want to stay for a short time or whether you want to stay for a long time. So what I usually do is I figure out where I want to go. Like, for example, when I wanted to go to Florida for the winter, I Google mapped, I pulled out the Google map, looked at the state of Florida. I knew I didn't want to go too far south because that can be really crowded. So I had an idea that I wanted to be kind of in the middle of the state somewhere, preferably near one of the coasts. So I just searched for RV parks. Then when you start bringing up RV parks, you can actually go to those RV parks individually, click on them individually, and look at the RV park for one thing, look at their rates. Do they have monthly rates? Usually if a place has a monthly rate, sometimes they'll also say that they have a discounted rate for 3 or more months. So let's say I wanted to go for the winter and I wanted to stay for December, January, and February. And usually if you stay for 3 months or more, they may give you a discount even on the monthly rates. So the other thing is to remember that if you do stay for a month or more, usually they meter your electric separately. If you stay for a night or two, or maybe even a week or two, your electric will be included in that weekly rate. But if you stay for a month, usually they'll give you the monthly rate and then they'll charge you separately for your electric. So if you like to run your air conditioners a lot, you'll be paying for the electric for that. I don't find that to be too big of an expense, especially in the winter. It's not as hot as the summer. So you don't usually need to run your air conditioner that much, but it still can be warm, so you may still want to run it. Electric for me ran about, between $70 and $80 a month, and that was not really using the air conditioning that much. So it doesn't add that much, but it is something that gets added to your monthly rate that you kind of need to think about. Also, you want to check the Google reviews. Sometimes they can have bad reviews, sometimes they can have good reviews. For example, the RV park that I stayed at in Homosassa, Florida, which I really love this RV park, the sites were really close together. I mean, one time a guy pulled in next to me and basically his slide out almost came out over the picnic table that was sitting in my spot. So it was pretty close. It was probably 10 feet away. You know, I come out my door and boom, there he is. And that was an RV park that had sites close together. A lot of people hate that, don't like that. For me, it was a trade-off. I really liked this RV park because it was on the canals. I could take my kayak and walk right to the canal, hop in my kayak and go and kayak with the manatees. And, you know, I really like that. So it's a trade-off. So one thing that I would suggest, if you're not sure if you want to spend 3 months or more at a place, I mean, you'd hate to pay for and reserve a place for 3 months and then get there 2 nights later, you hate it. So you might want to check it out first by staying there for a short amount of time and then seeing if you can stay there longer. You also might want to find out about their cancellation policy. So let's say you book 3 months and you get there and you're like, ugh, I really don't like this place. You may be able to stay just that 1 month and cancel the other months without losing anything. So you need to find out their cancellation policy. If you don't like it, if you can stay there for a short amount of time, I would recommend that. And I would definitely look up their reviews because, like I said, this one park that I stayed at, I loved it. It was called Nature's Resort. in Homosassa, Florida. But I also knew people that would never stay there again, said they hated it. There are a lot of full-time people that live there permanently, and there are some people that don't like parks that have that. So it's kind of you have to explore and find out what you like and where you want to stay. I really liked it. I also liked the fact that they had a tiki bar there, and you could go there, and they had entertainment every weekend. And it was right there within, in the park, so I could walk from my RV to the tiki bar. They also had meals there on the weekends, dinner on weekends like Friday and Saturday, and some other nights they offered some meals. They had breakfasts in the clubhouse on Saturday and Sunday morning. I really like that. So it really depends. I would look at reviews. I would also say one of the biggest things that I like to do is once I look and find RV parks, I go to the satellite view on Google Maps, and I look at the overhead view of the park, and you'll be able to tell if the spots are in dirt or gravel, or whether they're on asphalt or concrete. You'll be able to tell how close the RVs are to each other. So to look at that, I would say I use Google a lot. I love Google. They pretty much, they're updated. The pictures aren't too old. They can be a little bit old, but the reviews also are very important. So that kind of talks about, RV parks that are geared towards either full-time or half-time living. You can definitely find some good deals out there. I definitely like to stay a month or more. It just gives me the time to explore the area and to get settled in. I don't really like to break down and set up that often. Not that it's a huge deal, but once I get parked, I like to stay for a while. That's just me personally. So kind of on the same note, the second question is, where would one look for RV work and live opportunities? Like property upkeep, maybe farms. There are some availability called harvest hosts. I think the website is harvesthost.com. I'll put that down in the comments section of the YouTube channel. And I'll also add some sites into the comment section below the video here on YouTube. But somebody here is looking for RV work and live opportunities. They would love to live in beautiful places for months or perhaps a year at a time. And for that, I would say it would take some research. And once again, it's almost kind of like the same thing with looking up the RV parks where you can live and stay. You can also do a lot of camp hosting. And you can be a camp host at an RV park in a beautiful area. So they're out there. I haven't done a whole lot of research into that. I'll do some more research and post some links in the YouTube video, right, like I said, right below here. But there are definitely opportunities out there, and all you have to do is kind of do some research and digging and find out. But that's the great thing about living in an RV, is that you can find a lot of places to live and stay. For example, you'll notice that in the background of this video, I'm in a house. I'm actually staying in a house for a few weeks. For a previous client of mine, I'm back in Maryland, where I originally had a pet care business for the last 23 years. And one of my clients, his wife just passed away unexpectedly. He's a pilot, so he goes away for long periods of a time. And he has a couple of cats, and he wanted somebody to stay in his house. It gives me an opportunity to stay somewhere with Tigger and Roo, to hang out in a house with a pool. And there are plenty of opportunities out there. There are also, house sitters, house sitting opportunities, where you can maybe go to work at a farm and actually house sit for people who are going to be away. There are some websites related to that, and I'll go ahead and I'll include them in the links below this video too, so you can check them out. And if it's a farm, I have actually stayed at a friend's house. She doesn't have a farm, but she just has a big house and a big piece of property. And I took my RV there. And even though she was a friend, I did get paid to pet sit for her dog. And I was able to take my RV down her driveway and park there. Now, there were no hookups. So that's one thing you might want to consider. There might not be electric and sewer and water hookups. You may be able to have a water hookup, but you won't be able to have a place to empty your tanks. So you have to think about that and set it up in the future. Is there somewhere that I can empty my tanks? Or do I have to, drive to a local dump station? There's usually dump stations around, if not in an RV park, then at some state parks. Like, for example, there's a state park close to me. I probably couldn't get into their spots with my big RV, but they do have a dump station there that I know I could pull through and dump out at any time. So you may have to pull up once a week or every other week to be able to dump your tanks, depending on how much you want to conserve your water and, and you need to dump. So those are things to think about, but there are a lot of opportunities out there. And you may even find some opportunities with people who had never thought about it. But there are a lot of places that you can stay and that have opportunities available. So that's what's really neat. You don't always have to go to RV parks. You don't always have to boondock. You can actually find other places to stay, and you may even find somewhere that you really want to stay, and you may call some local farms or places around there and just say, hey, have you ever thought of, I would love to stay somewhere, and maybe I could, trade some hours for a spot to park on your property. So there's really no limits when you live and travel in an RV. So before I get on to the next question, I think we'll change venues here, and then I'll get on to the next question. Well, hello again, and let's go ahead to question number 3. But before we do that, Tigger and Rue have to make their little, their cameo appearance. So here they are. They really like this couch. There's Tigger. Say hi, Tigger. Tigger. Oh, anyway. So he's kind of saying hi. Oops. It's not going to work. And then there's Rue sitting there next to me. So they're keeping me good company while I do the question and answer Thursday this week. So let's go ahead to question number 3, which is, are there RV parks that offer ownership options like timeshares or RV space ownership? Yes, there is. I stayed 2 years ago in an RV park in Silver Springs, Florida. That was part of it was rental and part of it was actually ownership, where there were co-op ownerships. And if you do own an RV site, like for example, say somebody owned an RV site in that park, they can also rent it out if they're not going to be there. And sometimes you can actually, the front office of the RV park will handle the rental for you. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes it's completely up to you to handle the rental and all that. So there are different options for that. I actually considered getting a lot when I bought my RV, since I was going to be full-timing. And I thought it would be a good place to call, have a good idea to have some place to call home. And then I realized I don't really know where I want to be staying permanently. So it was a good idea for me to visit that park and to see what it was like. And I actually talked to and made friends with some of the owners there. I also made friends with some of the people who are renting there and stayed there. And there are differing opinions. Like some of the people that were renting there said they would never own there because there were so many restrictions and rules. Like you could only have this on your site or that on your site. And it's good in a way because it keeps your site very clean. And there, nobody's allowed to junk it up, because I've been to parks where people who stay there full time can really junk it up. So there's good and bad. It really depends on what you're looking for and what you want. But there are definitely places you can get ownership. I know of some other people that have a place in North Carolina. They love it. They go there every year. They don't stay there. You can get, you can get everything from just a simple lot to, and you can own that, or you can just actually rent a lot for a year. Like another park that I went to, they allow full-time residents, but you're not allowed to buy the lots. You can only rent the lot that you're on. Now, they may rent for multiple years at a time, so they're there for a good amount of time, but they don't actually own the lot, which it's just like a house. It's a good investment because you can resell it later on. And then they usually have, just like when you own a condo or you even rent a condo, there are fees there for upkeep and association fees, I guess we'll call them. So yes, there are definitely options for ownership. What I would recommend before you go somewhere and buy a lot or think about buying a lot is go to that RV park and rent there. Stay there for a month or even more, 1, 2, 3 months. Get to know the people, get to know the ownership, get to know what goes on there, what kind of people come in and out for rental. Do they keep it clean? Do they keep it quiet? Are they too picky about everything? You know, what exactly goes on there? So before you jump into any kind of ownership, I would definitely suggest that you go and rent there and stay there for a while and see what it's like. And of course, there's always the reading the Google reviews and checking into things like that. I probably will eventually get a lot just so that I always have some place to go. And like I said, if you don't want to go there, let's say I have a place in Florida and I don't want to go there for the winter, I could rent that lot for the winter and it wouldn't be a waste of money. So that's my advice on renting and owning a lot. You most certainly can, but buyer beware. I would say go and check it out first. So I thought I would move locations once again to come out by the nice little pool that's here at the house that I am pet sitting and house sitting for. And it's a good option. If you can find a place to pet sit or house sit for. I cannot bring my RV here. There's no room for it. But I have my RV is at my father's house, which is just a few miles from here, less than 10 minutes away. So that's not so bad. So it's just a little change of scenery. It's a little bit nice in the summertime to be at a place where there's a pool. I take care of the 2 cats and the house, and it's actually turned out to be a good thing that I'm here taking care of the house, because they had a leak underneath of the sink that flooded the floor, and I found that. I was able to repair that. It was just a matter of getting a new little piece of hose for underneath the sink, and I repaired that. And if the owner had been gone for another 10 days, he would have definitely had a big problem when he got home, because that was going to keep on leaking and flooding the floor. So it's a good thing to offer, and I'm going to look into that some more and see if there are actually websites and places you can go to find out if you can do that. If not, maybe I'll start one. But let me know, by the way, in the comments section if you'd be interested in something like that, and we'll see if we can find out more. So anyway, let me go to the next question, question number 4, for our question and answer Thursday. And that is, what was the biggest mistake you made in relation to full-time RVing? When I think about a mistake that I made with RVing, it's really hard for me to think of one. I can't really think. Usually something comes to mind right away. Oh, I wish I hadn't done this, or I wish I hadn't done that. And I wouldn't say that I wish I had done it sooner, because I'm happy with how my life has gone so far, and it's perfect timing for me. So I'm actually glad that I didn't wait too late, like until I retired. But now that I'm kind of been full-time RVing for a couple years, and I make some money part-time here and there. Oh, there's Rue in the background sniffing around. Now that I've done it for a while, I guess what happened with me was, since I had some money left over from the sale of my house, I basically took a year off after selling my house. Now, I had worked for 23 years with a business that was 7 days a week. There was one year where I only ever had 7 days, it was 10 days off the whole year. That includes weekends. I had no weekends, no holidays, because I took care of pets. So for me, I really needed that time off to just decompress, take in the RV lifestyle, learn how to live in my RV. So I think that was a good thing. I don't know if I really call it a mistake. But now I'm trying to catch up. My money's, running out, let's say. I'm still working. That's why I'm here pet sitting right now. And it's not so hard to find work as an RVer. I'm not really worried that I won't find any. But I'm just trying to catch up and to get things going. And part of it is that I really want to help people with this online business. And that's why I'm here today doing this question and answer video. And that's why I offer my services for that. Because I believe that we should be able to live the life we want to live, and part of that for me is helping other people, and I want to help other people live their dreams. So that's why I'm here today. So I guess my biggest mistake, maybe, I wouldn't even call it a mistake. Taking a year off was a long time to take off without really making any money, but I enjoyed every minute of it, so I won't complain too much about that. So let's go ahead to the last question, which is, if there was one pamper type item, no matter what the cost, that you could have, what would that be? So for me, I actually do have a pamper item, and if you saw the videos of the interior of my RV, the tour of my RV, there's RV considerations inside, you'll see that I have a massage bed next to, actually on the frame of my bed at home, and that is because of back issues that I have from being a jockey previously. So that's my biggest pamper item. Not everybody can have that, especially if you're not single, because it takes up the other half of my bed. But as far as pamper type items, I wouldn't say there's one thing that I want to be pampered with in an RV. But what I really need to have with my RVing, which goes along with the freedom and adventure lifestyle, is number 1, my motorcycle, number 2, my bicycle, and number 3, my kayak, because I love the adventurous lifestyle. And for me, having room to take those things, now I do have a blow-up kayak, and I'll put a link to the kayak that I have in the comment section of this YouTube video, and so you can see where I got it. I actually bought it for less than $100 on Amazon. It came in 2 days because I'm an Amazon Prime member to an RV park that I was at. It's very easy when you order things on Amazon Prime to change the address, and it gets delivered right to the RV park. You want to make sure you ask at the front office if you can have packages delivered there, but it's usually not a problem. Like, for example, the policy at the RV park that I stayed at was if you don't pick it up within 10 days, they send it back. So you want to make sure you know when it's coming, and you get Amazon alerts that tell you when it's coming anyway. Well, hello, kitty. This is one of the kitties that I'm watching here. This is Willow. Say hi, Willow. She's glad to have somebody here. Tigger, don't pick on Willow. Don't growl at her. Anyway, she's glad to have somebody here to keep her company. So you just want to make sure that you can get packages delivered. But it's a blow-up kayak. It sets up and takes down very easily. It's not too strenuous to blow it up. It comes with its own little hand pump. So it takes less than 15 minutes to set up. And if you're staying somewhere for a month or more, you can actually blow it up and keep it blown up. And I just slide it underneath of my RV when I'm not using it so that it stays out of the weather. So those are things that I like to have. Not really too much pamper items, but I like the adventure items. So that's it for today's issue of Question and Answer Thursday. Go ahead and put a question in the comments section if there's something you'd like me to answer next time. Sorry I missed last Thursday. I was actually doing a webinar, and I hope the people that got to see the webinar enjoyed it. I'll probably hold it again, maybe another week or so, a couple of weeks. I'll actually hold that webinar again, and it's called How to Achieve Your RV Dream Without Getting Confused, Overwhelmed, or Spending Way Too Much Money. So I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Until then, this is Melissa Daphnis of Your RV Dream, wishing you safe travels, blue skies, and smooth roads. Until next time, bye for now.